Hey everyone, today I'm going to be updating my DCEU ranking. Starting off, number 9 is Suicide Squad. This is one of those movies that gets a little bit worse each time I see it, so I've just stopped watching it unless I'm marathoning the franchise. Most of the acting is solid. Jai Courtney is easily the best part of the movie, partially because he's allowed to use his native accent, because when he's forced to use an American accent, he just loses all of his charisma. Captain Boomerang is the only squad member who doesn't have an underdeveloped backstory. He's just an alcoholic douchebag, and Jai Courtney plays that to perfection.
Mind games.
What's that?
Oh, this bomb in the neck crap. That ain't real, mate. See, they're trying to trap us with our own minds, right? But you look around, we're free, Brad.
How do you know this?
Just trust me, I know, right? It's a con. Now I'm gone, because I got a life to live. Question is, are you coming?
Margot Robbie is perfectly cast as Harley Quinn. Not a huge fan of her outfit, but her performance is great. Viola Davis and Jay Hernandez are also good. Some of the comedy in this movie does genuinely work. Not a lot, but there are a few funny bits. The best individual moment of the movie is this shot of June Moon turning into Enchantress.
Enchantress.
What a cool shot. Why couldn't the rest of the movie have been that cool? I love Will Smith, and he's not bad in this movie, but I don't buy him as a supervillain. An alcoholic superhero maybe, but not a supervillain. The action scenes are a mixed bag. They're well shot, but poorly edited. Speaking of which, the editing in this movie is bad and the pacing is atrocious. I shit you not, this movie has 2 first acts. There's a lot of stuff in this movie that makes no sense. This is a universe where Superman and Wonder Woman exist. This is a movie where Batman and the Flash have cameos. And yet when Enchantress shows up, ready to destroy/conquer the world, they send in the Suicide Squad. The Squad is who you send after someone low-level, like the Joker or Bane. The Squad is not who you send to take care of a General Zod-level threat. And speaking of which, the villains in this movie suck. My score is 2.25 out of 5. Number 8 is Justice League, or Justice League, if you will. This movie is a mess, but it has some things going for it. Like Suicide Squad, this is a movie I enjoy a little bit less each time I watch it, and I've pretty much stopped watching it outside of marathons. The acting is solid overall. Ezra Miller, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher are all great. The action is good, and I absolutely love the scene where Superman wakes up and he's still, I don't know, out of it, groggy or whatever, and they have to try to subdue him. That's probably the best part of the movie, honestly. I also love how the music during that scene is like this warped, messed up version of the Superman theme. I like that, it's a nice touch. I do like the humor in this movie, at least most of it. Obviously it doesn't always hit, but enough of it hits that it works for me. You can argue whether or not it belongs there, but that's not really the point right now. Like Suicide Squad, this movie's villain sucks. He has no development, his motivations are vague and fairly generic. After Zack Snyder took some time off to mourn the loss of his daughter, my sincere condolences, by the way.
No parent should have to bury their child.
Joss Whedon was brought in to finish the movie, and the rest is history. They seriously just should have waited for Snyder to be ready to come back. Oh well, at least we're getting the Snyder cut. The score is 2.5 out of 5. Number 7 is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. For the record, I'm going off the Ultimate Edition here because the theatrical cut is hot garbage. I know not everyone likes the dark, serious tone Zack Snyder's DC movies have, but at least the tone is consistent in this movie, unlike the 2 I just talked about. The casting is pretty on point. Batfleck is badass, Gal Gadot is great as Wonder Woman, and Henry Cavill is awesome. Jeremy Irons, Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne, and Holly Hunter are also good. The action in this movie is great. The warehouse fight is one of the best scenes in the entire DCEU. Hell, it's one of the best fight scenes in any superhero movie, period. You know what else Snyder's good at? Cool visuals. Like Watchmen and Man of Steel, this movie has so many moments that feel like they're ripped straight out of the comics. The musical score is awesome. The heroes and villains each have their own theme and they're all awesome. Doomsday and Lex Luthor are meh. There are some other issues here and there, but I didn't really mind that much. My score is 3.25 out of 5. Next up, number 6 is Man of Steel. Say what you will about Zack Snyder. He did something no other director has. Something one other, arguably better director failed to do. He launched the DCEU. Yeah, Green Lantern was supposed to do that 2 years earlier, and that was directed by Martin Campbell, the guy who gave us GoldenEye and Casino Royale. But, well, we all know how that turned out. Henry Cavill is great. I know a lot of people don't like his Superman because Superman is all about life, and he values life, and he would never kill unless he absolutely had to or whatever. Yeah, I get that, I really do. I've seen all the live-action Superman movies, so I definitely get that. But here's the thing. This movie doesn't go against that. This portrayal of Superman does not go against that. This is Superman before he reaches that point in his life. This Superman learned to value life because he was forced to take one. When he has Zod in a headlock, he's begging him to stop.
Don't do this! Stop!
And Zod refuses.
Never.
He had no choice. And it clearly weighs on him. It's such a powerful moment because you see the anguish and regret in his face and you hear it when he screams. The rest of the cast is solid across the board, and Diane Lane and Kevin Costner arguably give us the best portrayal of Ma and Pa Kent we've gotten in live action. I haven't seen a lot of animated stuff, so I can't comment on that. Michael Shannon is awesome as General Zod, and Ansha Trau, hope I said that right, somehow outshines him as Feora Ul. She is just awesome.
You are weak, son of El. Unsure of yourself.
Unlike every other Superman movie, the flying actually feels real and visceral and exciting. Like, the flying in Superman Returns was good, but the flying in this movie is great. The action is well shot and well edited, and instead of using slow motion, Snyder uses snap zooms, where instead of cutting to a close-up, he snap zooms to one. And finally, Hans Zimmer's score in this movie is one of his best. My score is 3.9 out of 5. Number 5 is Aquaman. This movie is the cinematic equivalent of good overacting. It's completely over the top, it knows it, and it doesn't care. This movie is entertaining as hell. It's colorful, a little cheesy, and doesn't take itself too seriously. Speaking of colorful, this movie forgoes the washed-out color palette of BVS and Man of Steel, and instead, this movie is vibrant and beautiful. The acting is solid across the board. Jason Momoa is great, and off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone better suited to play Aquaman. Patrick Wilson is great, and he makes for a villain who rivals Michael Shannon as General Zod. The action is great, and there are two scenes that especially stand out. and the humor in this movie mostly works. Finally, there's an awesome cliche dodge when Black Manta's father is gonna die, and he tells him, "You need to live so you can kill that son of a bitch." Usually, in this kind of movie, when you have a villain like that, or a hero gone bad, usually someone asks them, "What would your dead parent think?" In this case, if someone asked him that, he could tell them, "He encouraged me to do this. He told me I need to do this." I love it. It's awesome. The score is 4 out of 5. Number 4 is Wonder Woman. My only problem with this movie is the climax. And you probably know why. It comes out of nowhere and it's just a big fight against a generic CGI villain. It was shoehorned in by studio interference and the movie suffered for it. Other than that, this movie is great. The cast is excellent. Gal Gadot is delightful as Wonder Woman, Chris Pine is great, and Lucy Davis is hilarious. I might sound like a broken record here, but the action in this movie is great. Even the climax is at least well shot and well edited and all that. There's a detail I didn't notice, someone else pointed it out. The editing in the action scenes. Sometimes it uses a lot of quick cuts, sometimes it only uses a few cuts. It's not random. It uses fewer cuts and longer shots when Diana is feeling more confident.
Never let your guard down. You expect a battle to be fair. A battle will never be fair.
Go rewatch the movie with that in mind, see if you notice it. The humor in this movie is great, and it feels very natural. The musical score is one of the best in the DCEU. It draws from BVS a little bit, but mostly just does its own thing, and it works. The villains are fine. Ares is Ares, but General Ludendorff and Dr. Poison are fine. The score is 4.25 out of 5. Number 3 is Wonder Woman 1984. Apparently I'm in the minority here, but I prefer this movie over the first one. This movie is infectiously joyful, shamelessly bonkers, and painfully relevant in this day and age. Gal Gadot is delightful and Chris Pine is great as usual. The action is thrilling, the pacing is perfect, and Hans Zimmer's musical score is excellent. Where this movie improves on the original is the climax and the villains. Cheetah is a fully fleshed out and developed villain brought to life by Kristen Wiig, who has proven that her dramatic acting rivals her comedy. Maxwell Lord is a less relatable and more hateable villain, but he is fleshed out, and Pedro Pascal's performance is perfectly over the top. And the climax actually feels like a natural continuation of the story instead of a hard left. My score is 4.3 out of 5. Number 2 is Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. This movie is everything Suicide Squad should have been, and more. It's rated R, the tone is consistent, and most importantly, it has believable and relatable stakes. That's my favorite thing about this movie. The conflict isn't with some deity who wants to conquer, destroy, or colonize the Earth. It's Harley Quinn dumping the Joker, getting out of that toxic relationship, and losing her social immunity. Now, everyone who wants to kill her can have at it. The cast is solid. Margot Robbie is perfect as Harley Quinn. Ella J. Basco is surprisingly good in her debut role, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead steals the show. Ewan McGregor is wonderfully flamboyant and sinister. Chris Pezina is great as Victor Zsasz, and those two have really good chemistry. They're clearly having a blast. The action is great. It uses long enough shots that you can see what's going on, and thanks to the R rating, you get to see what's going on. Clearly Harley likes breaking knees. And sure, the fight at the amusement park could have been better, but overall, this movie's fight choreography is better than most of the MCU. And finally, I love the humor. Harley and her egg sandwich is a better love story than Twilight. And I love the running gag where Huntress is trying to make a name for herself, but people keep calling her the crossbow killer. And it frustrates her, naturally. And I also love that they poke fun at the fact that she's your generic anti-hero out for revenge. And to be honest, she's probably the most realistic portrayal of that kind of character. She's socially awkward, as one would be. She has to practice her quips ahead of time, and even then she doesn't always get them right. My score is 4.5 out of 5. Finally, number 1 is Shazam. Or rather, Shazam! I love this movie. I don't have any complaints with it, honestly. This is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. The acting is great. Zachary Levi perfectly embodies a boy trapped in a man's body.
Believe. Okay. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I...
Did you believe?
And Mark Strong makes a great villain. The other foster kids are all good, especially Grace Fulton, and Cooper Andrews and Marta Millins have great chemistry. Also, Jimon Hansu is badass as always. The humor is probably the best in the franchise. Eugene not realizing it's dark because he's been staring at his laptop all day.
Hey, no sodas after dark, remember?
Whoa. When did it get dark?
Billy not being able to hear Savannah's evil monologue because he's too far away. And Darla just being adorable. I love it. The action isn't the best in the franchise, but it's still great. And finally, I love that this movie gives us a positive portrayal of a foster family. They're supportive, they care about the kids.
Exactly why your math department is so uniquely suited for me. I can't even with Eugene right now. Sorry. Mary, hi. College interview.
I'm Billy.
What am I most excited about? Oh, what a great question. I was hoping you'd ask.
Mention you're a foster kid. Colleges eat that up.
What I'm most excited about is the campus experience. As a foster child, I'm a big believer in finding family and friends in the most unlikely of places.
I'm gonna miss that girl so much.
It's something we don't see enough in movies. The score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, subscribe anyway so you can tell me how bad my other stuff is. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.